going.
Okay.
And it's our Friday show, because it's Thursday. Pressing the button, Mrs. Ryan.
Okay.
Jonah, sorry. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at this. This is funny. I'm going to sit here in the dark for a second while I load our cameras up, which apparently I didn't do before. No problem. Just give me a moment here. There we go.
Oh, I love our Thursday show.
It's radio. Hey, we're back to the podcast, doing the podcast again. All right. Hello, Mrs. Ryan. There we go.
Hello, hello.
I know. Sorry. Hi. We got a full house. Hi, Jonah. Hi, everybody else. Welcome back. And here we go. I'm going to get situated, and I'll be back to normal in just 1 second. How's that, Mrs. Ryan? Here we go. Oh, my gosh. My hair's standing up. Holy cow. It's one of those days. I don't even have the right card. Jonah. Holy cow.
Oh, my God.
Disaster show. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Hi there. Welcome back. Tonight is Thursday, July 25th, 2019. My name is Jay Ryan. This is Nicole Ryan. We're getting situated here as the Ryans right here on It's Tonight's Show. Our guest this evening is a friend we know from Breakfast Club. He's a Porsche owner. More specifically to the folks of Los Angeles, he owns the hip, trendy, very, very, actually, I'm going to let you describe it when you get in here, but a very, very hip new restaurant in Silver Lake known as Freedman's. We have Jonah Freedman here, restaurateur, owner of that place.
Yay.
Also, East Coaster. Aren't you an East Coaster as well? Toronto. Oh, gosh, that's even better. Yeah, sure. Fantastic.
Yes.
All right, so he's going to be in here in just a few minutes. We're going to talk about Breakfast Club stuff, car stuff, and probably maybe just a little bit about food.
Yeah.
Mrs. Ryan, what else should we talk about? Oh, crap. Yeah, boy, I got so much stuff out of I'm the hair today. Tortoise in the hair. I was ahead, got up early, started doing things, and it was like, got a little sidetracked. And it's like, everything's done. It's like 3 things I missed. I don't know if I wanted to have the whole calendar out and everything for the countdown to Dave.
Oh, that one.
I have it. It's just not here, and I'm not going to go run and get it because we've already done that this week with the chocolate Porsche. Decode that one. Watch those episodes. But it's official to announce that we have a Dave Watch 2019. We're going to come up with a card with it and everything next week. But we have officially reached out to David Letterman to try to get him as a guest on this program right here with his old stuff. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to happen. I really do. I don't know when. Too. I don't know. I really, like I said yesterday, it could be next week, next month. It could be a year from now. But I really do think it's going to happen.
I think so, too.
This is a conversation that I should have had with the man 20 years ago. And it's time.
It's time. I think it'll happen. In my head, I have Bill Murray rules of, like, you never know. It's out there now, so
those are Bill Murray rules?
I guess it's because of that Lost in Translation movie of, like, call the 800 number and, like, this is when we're starting, and you showed up.
Well, okay. People probably don't know what you're talking about. When Bill Murray was signed on to do the movie Lost in Translation, the famous movie that I think even won the Oscar, gosh, do we really want to get it? Let's tell you about Bill Murray. Here's a quick Bill Murray education lesson.
No.
He doesn't have representation, and you can't just call his agent or him, for that matter. He has none of that. He has an 800 number, and you call it, and you may or may not get a response.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. So even Sofia Coppola, the director of Lost in Translation, on day one of shooting in Tokyo, was not 100% sure that Mr. Bill Murray would even show up.
Yeah.
Obviously he did, and we know what the result was. Spectacular. I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
Mrs. Ryan, too much blathering, too much talking, maybe too much coffee for me. I have an East Coast feed, okay. And it's Thursday, so we have a TBT. What would you like to do first?
Awesome. East Coast feed, please.
All right, let's check in with Danbury Chive. Now, I don't normally do this, but this was sent by Brooke, so I did watch it first. Laughed very hard. Let's check in with Brooke and the Kazman. See what's going on today. Roll it out.
Mr. and Mrs. Ryan, you got Brooke and the Kazman, and we're driving home from Manhattan softball, as you can tell because we're in the car. And so what's really funny about it is we just got pulled over. I just got pulled over. Right, babe? How fast was I going, babe? 85. And how fast was it? 45. In a 45. And so we were joking. I was joking with the cops like I usually do because at that point you're fucked because you're really screwed. And the good news is, what happened, babe? And I didn't get a ticket. And the cop thought it was hysterical. And he said, well, it's whatever. Either way, he let me off. It was just damn funny. And Brooke is mad now, as you can see by looking at her face, because she got a ticket this morning going to work on our block where we live. And the Danbury cop was a dick. So that's look on her face right there. Anyway, the good news is we just left White Castle and we were happy and jamming the music and it was great. And I love it. Love you guys.
I love that girl more and more.
Yeah, she's growing on me too. I didn't have a problem with her before, but I'm definitely growing more fond.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Pretty funny, you guys. That's the Casman for you. In all the years I've known him, I mean, he's probably gotten out of as many tickets as he's gotten.
Seriously?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's just got the personality for it. He's not doing anything to be malicious. You know what I mean? He's just one of those guys who's just trying to get to work or wherever he's going to do more stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he, while he drives quickly, I don't consider him a dangerous driver
Correct.
by any
I don't
means.
either.
You know what I mean? So it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Brooke's face
Awesome.
looks like may disagree with my statement there, but that's okay. All right, so now TBT, Mrs. Ryan.
Okay.
Right? Get
Yes.
right into that? Okay, cool. Roll it out. No, that's not far enough. Hang on. Come back. That's not far enough. That's the beginning of this very program.
Oh, today.
Oh my gosh. All right. Let's see what I did with it. Here it is. Roll it out. We had to make a detour. Where are we, Mrs. Ryan?
We're at America's Tire.
Yeah, we
Your
are.
favorite place.
My new favorite place, too. Yellow Car got a nail that we noticed while we were getting gas. And America's Tire is fixing it for free. No joke. We didn't buy our tires here, but they're fixing it. So, thumbs up. Thanks, America's Tire.
Thank you.
Gummy bear now. Come on to a sugar roll. Macaroni and cheese. We gotta make this. I love this. Yeah. There's a thumbs up. You couldn't tell. Big thumbs up. Seems to be a bit of a local dispute. Well, we're up here with Eric Wilson and the Golden Ticket. William! And Eric Williams, so, dumb dick. You know, have fun. Golden Ticket. Golden Ticket's the ticket, I'll tell you that. And it went around the roundabout here by the helipad. Pretty cool. Seeing Yellow Car in the rearview mirror is a very Loved it. She loved it. Well, I almost fell asleep there at the end, but I love that one, Mrs. Ryan. It turned into a lullaby because I happened to put myself back into that. That was a long drive home because we took the crest over.
Oh, yeah.
And when we had breakfast in Wrightwood with Eric Williams. I said Wilson in the video. And then we took the highway back. So you remember it was like, oh, we had the adrenaline and then the food coma, and then it was like, oh, a straight line the whole way back for an hour and a half. That was real fun.
That makes sense why my eyes were closed in that last photo then.
Yeah, but what a great weekend that was.
It was so much fun.
It's funny watching these videos. I think you've said this before, but some of these memories you don't necessarily remember. They're not, in your RAM.
Yeah.
In your ROM, but not your RAM, or however that works.
They're in the long-term memory, not the short-term.
That. Yeah. So it's nice that this pulls it up every once in a while.
Brings it all back to the forefront. It's fantastic.
Mrs. Ryan, I have nothing else. It's time to ask the question that's on everyone's mind.
Yes, sir. Da, 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 da.
What's going on, Mrs. Ryan? Dun, 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 dun.
I will remember that song eventually. There's a new, I know, right? There's a new state of magnetic materials out there.
Oh, good.
For the first time, I feel like movie people have figured this out, like Terminator 2, but for the first time in real life, magnetic liquids are a thing. Like liquid...
Mercury, like in thermometers?
Iron, and there was a way to figure out how to do it in liquid.
I see what you're saying. You mean at room temperature, not at a heating... There's not a boiling point to it.
Right, it's just a thing that they created by accident.
Room temperature, liquid, iron, or different liquid. Oh, that's interesting. That is weird. What do we do with it? What's the purpose? We're going to find out, I guess. They're
going to find out. UMass Amherst found it by accident. They were trying to figure out something else, but they figured out that this prop...
You got chocolate in my peanat butter. You got your chocolate in my... Whatever, I screwed it up.
There's really neat...
The restaurateur is like, close.
There's medical implications. They can use it to transport medicines and stuff, but it's a really neat idea that liquids can have a magnetic field.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see.
Room temperature liquid metals are kind of fascinating to me too.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. Like Terminator 2 came to life. Okay, for a minute people were sharing just like anything to get feedback, and now people are like, okay, I'll just share good stories and fun, positive stuff.
What people are we talking about?
Just in general, like the lexicon of social media.
Oh,
and
folks. Just people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was this...
We as people.
But the shift has happened, and people are sending positive stuff out there. And so this woman captured a video from a plane. She was just seated, and there was a baggage handler in Nashville that was dancing up a storm.
Oh, yeah, I see that. This is not the first one I've seen, but I love it.
Yeah, so it's taking over.
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to. Please continue. She looked out the window. There was
She looked out the window. There's a baggage handler dancing with the luggage cart that he started. I mean, he danced for a while. But it just
The
pure
video I saw
joy.
was not a guy with a luggage cart, but it was like the guy, the vest outside out the plane, and maybe he was a luggage guy. Is that what he was? I'm picturing the guy with
The video
where's the forklift, Harry? And the
that
big
was
thing.
the second part of the video. The first
Oh, okay,
video,
gotcha.
the first part of the video was him, and she didn't get it, but it was him with a luggage cart dancing around, and so then he started doing it.
Oh, like the luggage cart as a partner. Oh,
Yes.
that's adorable. Well, good
So
people.
I just love that.
Getting joy out of their simple tasks. You know what I mean? That's to me what I love.
Yes, and what she took as a passenger was like, this guy is just pure joy. I had to share it because people need to see it.
We had I don't remember who it was now, and it's probably good because of what I'm about to say, but we had a guest here one time who we had a conversation with, and his position was, it was a male. I just gave it away. 50. Anyway, his position was that if you were in an assembly line type position, the chances are you're not that smart. And I was like, that's all you can handle. And I said, I don't agree with you in a very, very major way, only because enlightenment, once you get to a certain place of understanding or consciousness, if that's the direction you choose to go, that stuff becomes very unimportant. That becomes a gift because you can think about other things while you get paid to do nothing. You know what I mean? It's a different thing. It's a different position. So this sounds more on the lines of that. There you go.
Yeah. Be happy while you do your
Yes.
mundane whatevers.
Here's a guy who's right.
Yeah, and
He's not just going down the log line of, here's the 10 things the job says I have to do today. Yes.
he's having fun with that.
And making people's day on an airplane. That's pretty nice because it's not the most fun place to be these days.
It's a big deal to be happy on planes. Selma
Plus
Blair.
the snakes. My God, the snakes.
Selma Blair is in the news again. And so I am going to use
Love
this
that girl.
opportunity to talk about someone else with MS because I hate talking about myself.
Oh, but Selma Blair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she shaved her head. She was in like 3 months of treatment and getting stuff done. And she's come out now with a really great attitude. And this cover, I think it's out this weekend.
People Magazine,
People
right?
Magazine, and she talks all about how she's really an introvert, but this has become the greatest opportunity for her to find out who's in her life and share moments with people who are in her life that want to be really awesome to her. Like friends have like set up food donations because she doesn't have energy to cook for her and her kids.
Yeah.
So every weekend she gets deliveries of food because people know that that's a thing for her.
I put it up there with, this is a weird thing for people, but bear with me just for 1 second. Steve Jobs, all the money in the world, couldn't cure pancreatic cancer. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things for whatever the reason, no matter what you believe. There's different belief systems. There's different ways to look at it for sure. But Selma Blair is someone with means, someone with connections, someone who can go anywhere on the globe to go see a doctor who supposedly could go do something different. You know what I mean? Andy Kaufman, like that, that kind of thing. And this kind of shows what you guys are dealing with, what you guys are up against. You know what I mean?
It shows how big it is.
It's not invisible for her. Some people it's invisible. You stumble with your walking a little bit, but otherwise you really look like you're fucking put together, and that's a compliment.
I appreciate it. And then you have a conversation with me and all bets are off.
Some days. Depends on the day. That depends on the day. So please you can't judge. That's one of those things too. I mean, it's a good lesson for all of us in the world, everyone who interacts with other people, but for you specifically.
Yeah.
For people who deal with you specifically.
I agree. And that's, to me, I think why I try to expand the circle a little bit, because MS is different for everyone that has it. And I think what we're going to find out is that it's just something that we all have, like, access to having. Like, it's just your brain gets frazzled doing too many things. And your body reacts accordingly. So whatever.
Absolutely. I believe it's fully a version of, like, cellular overwhelm.
I think so too, and so
And that's where the the autoimmune comes in, where it starts fighting itself. It's like, you calm down, no, you calm down.
Yeah,
just settle down, no, you settle down. Two people in an argument. It's war games, you know what I mean? They're playing tic-tac-toe, and there's no winner.
one's gonna win, and so you expend all the energy pretending that you can, and realistically you can't.
Because you want to.
You want to. There's other ways to do it, and finding your support system is a big deal, and she talks a lot about that in the article.
You, Jamie Lynn Siegler, and Selma Blair are people I highly recommend follow on the social media for all of those reasons. A lot of awareness through real life.
Real life.
Not just follow this charity, they're doing good work with this thing, now there's this new shot, there's this new medication. Also, how you integrate having to deal with this into your regular life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the three of
your
us
life doesn't have to end.
have a lot in common about it, but we handle it drastically differently. So have a gander.
Yep.
Some Blair, I know you a little bit, and I love you lots. So.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe I was with her the night I decided to move to Los Angeles. It was the night
Oh,
Sarah
she was
Michelle
there.
Gellar hosted Saturday Night Live. I just came across the ticket the other
That's-
day when I found that Sharon Stone letter. It was May 15th, 1999.
That's awesome. A small world, man.
Yeah.
And then lastly,
Hey.
there was an Uber driver that was like, I'm a driver. This is what I do. Two sisters, the weather caused them to miss their connecting flight between Minneapolis and South Dakota to go to their aunt's 100th birthday party.
Oh.
And so they didn't know what to do. They couldn't rent cars. They were all out, blah, blah, blah. And so they were like, last ditch effort. We'll try to see if an Uber will take us.
Sure.
So 7 minutes later, their Uber driver's name was Jesus. No joke.
Wow.
And he was like, I drive. It was for he drove there and then back without a fare. So it was like a $250 fare that he was like, whatever, get to the birthday
Wow.
party. So people are doing good
Mr.
things.
Rogers, look for the helpers.
Yes.
Hey! And that's been What's Going On, Mrs. Ryan. Dun, 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 dun.
Helpers everywhere.
Wow, that's great. You look cute today. I like your. I thought they were McQueen. It's not both McQueen, but that somehow it's kind of color coordinated with your shoes and your shirt there.
I'm good like that.
Good
yeah.
for you, Jonah. All right, back to the show. Let's take a quick break, and we'll get Jonah Freedman in here, owner of Freedman's Restaurant in Silver Lake, Los Angeles. Check it out. A few more minutes, Mrs. Ryan. More to come. See you in a few. Not today. Sorry, Yamas. Oh, there we go. That's the shot right there. Welcome back, everybody. We're sitting here with Jonah Freedman. How's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Get this mic pulled up there
oh,
for you.
beautiful. Thank
No, it's
you.
great. We're good, buddy. It's great
Yeah?
to have you here. It's nice to see you. Not at
Not
Newcomb's
on
Ranch.
Fridays.
Yeah. Fridays has become sort of our
Yeah.
our. I don't know. It's almost like a fucking church up there. I mean, we go there every damn week. I want to talk about you. I want to figure out. Well, let's start with where you're from.
I'm from Toronto originally.
Canadian.
Canadian.
Yep.
Yes.
And how on earth did you get to Los Angeles, or why? Great.
Yeah, we're good
Yeah.
here.
You stay comfortable, and then that's a great place for it.
Okay. Cool. How did I get to do LA? Okay,
Well, I don't know. Where do you want to start? You're a restaurateur.
let's-
How do you want to start with food, cars? What? You know what I mean?
We
met
can-
you through Breakfast Club, but I feel
Right.
like there's more to you than that.
Definitely. No, and that's also something we should. I mean, I am very, very new to the Porsche world.
Yeah.
In that way.
Yeah. You jumped in with both feet, though. Tell everybody what kind of
Totally,
car you
yeah.
drive.
I have a
start there.
1984 Carrera. It's a 3.2 liter.
Yep. Narrow body with a tail.
Yep, with a whale tail.
Beautiful car. Color matched wheels. It's
Color match
what's
wheels.
the color?
It is It's called platinum.
Yep.
And then the wheels are slightly off of.
Yeah, but
the,
it was a factory match,
it
right?
was. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
just not quite.
Well, was the
So-
car repainted at some point,
No.
and the wheels weren't? So
No.
maybe the wheels are just faded over time.
I think so.
Yeah.
I wonder if at one point actually the wheels were refinished.
Redone, yeah. How many miles are on your car?
41,000.
Wheels probably weren't refinished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're real
Yeah.
Fuchs. I bet they. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting though.
Maybe that was just.
I think you're looking at it awfly close too, because I
Yeah.
never noticed anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, so your car's
anyway, so,
great.
yeah,
You jumped
it's
in with that.
beautiful.
What
It's
made
absolutely
you?
beautiful.
What made you get into the? You got bit by the Porsche bug? Or did you see
got-
Magnus's video? Like, what happened for you?
Well, okay. So I also grew up sort of in a car family a little bit.
That's
Yeah.
how. There you go.
There you go.
That's the truth of it.
My father studied as a tool and die maker.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah. And then he sort of, one thing led to another, and he manufactures auto parts. So that's
Well,
what he does.
I'm laughing because people don't realize, people don't know that technically we met you through your dad. Your dad walked
exactly.
up to
Yeah,
us at Newcomb's
right,
and said,
right.
"Hey, blah blah blah. Hey,
Right.
we hear you're the people to talk to.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing. And my son's here. He's got this restaurant."
Yeah.
And it was like he was selling you.
Yeah.
And that was the first dose. So
Yeah,
I had no
absolutely.
idea that he was even a car guy, let alone that
Oh,
was
yeah.
his livelihood.
very much so. Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. So he was already. You had nice cars growing up, that kind of thing, or
Yeah,
just he was always.
just
you were
also
around cars. Or?
Around cars and appreciation.
Okay.
Learning to drive and drive well was important from kind of an early age.
By that, what do you mean?
I think just
Do you mean safely? Do you mean car control? Do you mean balance? Do you mean smooth and fast and smooth? Like what constitutes good driving for you and your dad?
all of the above.
I'm with you. A general awareness.
A general awareness. I think obviously driving stick was the thing. There was nothing. There was no other question as to whether I wouldn't.
I'm with you. We need a term for this. It's almost like the automobile doesn't have what the music industry, we would call it music theory. You take music theory to understand the mechanics of how all of these things work and why.
You're totally right.
And it's almost like we need or you took maybe through your dad's own, like a auto theory or driving theory.
Right.
Racing theory almost.
I think it's also a respect and appreciation for how these things are built and how they work and how beautiful they can be, but also how dangerous they can be.
Quite literally, yeah.
And I think a lot of young kids who get into fast cars don't necessarily have that kind of not training necessarily, but those kind of conversations and that sort of appreciation.
Yeah,
and
it's a fact these days, right?
Yeah.
With cars that are, a Honda Civic has 300 horsepower.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
It's crazy. So I think that's where I initially approached it from. But also his father was a huge car guy. Again, more just an enthusiast than anything else. But
yeah.
It's always something that's been with us.
Okay. What's your dad's name?
David.
Okay, David
Yeah.
Freedman, of course,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Shout out to David Freedman.
David Freedman.
You wouldn't be sitting here if he didn't come over and talk to us. So
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and him and my mom, so they met in their final year of high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they had, I believe they both had Datsuns at the time.
They had what?
Datsun. A
Oh,
Datsun.
Datsun.
Yeah.
Datsun the car.
Yeah. Datsun.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Datsun.
You're too young.
Yeah.
It was Datsun back
Datsun.
then, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so they were all, he had one, my mom had one.
Turned into Nissan.
Yeah.
It's Nissan
yeah,
now.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Yeah. And
I'm saying this stuff because you're 26 years old.
yeah.
I can say that to people, right?
Right, yeah.
Tell everybody.
Yeah.
26-year-old with a classic Porsche air-cooled 911. Beautiful. Then a restaurant in Silver Lake. I can't wait to hear how this happened. It's so good. I'm so impressed with you already. Forgive me.
Great. I mean, a lot of luck and support and whatnot.
Oh, I didn't mean you had to. Yeah. No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Stand your ground, sir.
Yeah. What was I? Oh,
Datsun.
they had this funny, they had a car club in high school.
Sure.
With the Datsun. And
Just looking for like-minded people, right?
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. So I guess I caught a little bit of that bug too.
Yeah, I was going to say. So basically, your car interest started from a car club that your parents started in high school.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
A Datsun club.
Yeah, Datsun. Sure.
My
Datsun, if you're from Canada.
Datsun. Yeah.
That is Canadian.
It must. Yeah.
Sounds
I wonder.
I wasn't trying to make fun of you.
No.
I just genuinely, I was like, well, there's a dialect thing. I didn't know what it sounded like. Dad sin, and I was like, wait a second, what? Because we're talking about your father.
Yeah.
It felt like it took a turn.
I'm going to go on a limb and say Canadians are used to being judged for what we say.
Oh, no judgment. No judgment. No judgment. I consider Toronto Tomorrowland. What was it like?
Yeah.
I mean, we're just skip all around here. We'll get back to you in a minute.
That's great.
Tell me about Toronto. What was that like growing up there?
Great.
I'm sort of a Canada file, but I don't really, you know what I mean? I have dreams of living there, but I'm not like an expat guy who hates this country and got to get over the line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, I just kind of am fascinated by north of the border.
It's an interesting place, and it's one that I didn't realize was so different from, sort of major cities in the
You mean
US.
because you grew up there?
Because I grew up there.
Well, that's all of us.
My mom's American. Her brother lives in New York, and I would just be like between Toronto and New York a lot.
Oh,
Like,
you were already bi-coastal even, or whatever, bi.
just, just like a couple times a year we would go and visit. Like it was very much sort of a sister city to
Familiar.
yeah. Anyway, so it was never going back and forth. It was never something I thought about. It was always like, oh, Toronto's just a little smaller, like a little less dense. But it was never, oh, Toronto is in Canada, and there is something fundamentally different.
Right, the
about
invisible
that.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Because it wasn't there for you, right? You
No,
didn't
no,
grow
no,
up with that invisible
I
line.
didn't realize it. Like I wouldn't go back to Toronto and be like, "Oh, this is weird. It's like America, but just different." A little.
They put mayonnaise on their fries,
And
which
it
I
wasn't
like,
until
by the
went to
way. Another
school.
thing I like.
Mayonnaise on fries.
I'm disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I love it. It's my
Mayo
favorite.
or aioli? Or do you not?
If I could have the, I don't
Yeah.
like fancy stuff. So
Yeah.
if I could prefer, I would say Hellman.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Best Foods.
Yeah.
Variety mayonnaise, real mayonnaise.
mayo. Yeah.
I don't know what constitutes real and fake.
Egg yolk. Egg yolk.
So does
Yeah.
Miracle Whip not have egg yolk? Oh, it doesn't.
No chemical. I think.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never liked Miracle Whip, and that's why it's got
so
like a
fake.
chemical. I always thought it was just because it was sweet. I never liked the sweetness.
No,
of
I
it.
think it's like oils, like blended oil, rather
Yeah.
than.
It's faker
Actual-
than
We are
real
killing
mayonnaise.
Miracle Whip stock right now. That's it. Sell Miracle Whip. Holy crap! Buy some Best Foods. Anyway, go ahead.
So it wasn't until I went to school. I went to school in Chicago. So I lived in Chicago for 4 years.
Also, not
What'd
a
you go to
small
school
town. Like you went from big city to big city,
Totally.
whether it was Toronto or New York.
Yes,
or
absolutely.
Chicago.
Yeah. I've never done the like small city or like living in, country life.
Oh,
living.
City Mouse, Country Mouse.
Yeah,
but I
I'm
guess Toronto
very
isn't big enough.
interested in-
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Toronto is. I mean, now I think it's like what the fourth largest city in North America. Like it's.
Is that true?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Holy crow!
Yeah. it's-
Everyone from Canada went there, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know why all of us went to Vancouver, like all of our movie
Right.
people.
Right.
Wow.
Well, because it's just right
Oh,
up there.
shit.
Right?
Yeah,
Just
sure.
there, and
That's-
you can make it
that's
look
how
like-
we describe it to everybody. It's
Yeah.
just right up there. Well, I'd love to. I've got to do this movie in Vancouver, but I have no idea how I'm going to get there. Well, it's very easy. You just. Anyway,
So
you went to school in
So I went to school
Chicago.
in Chicago, and it was. I think when friends would come and visit Toronto, like on break or something
That
like
they
that,
would love
that
it.
they were like, this is great, but this is so strange. It feels like everything I know, but things are slightly different. Like signs are in English and French, and people's attitudes towards certain things are just like slightly off.
Well, yeah, but is this children's perspective? Like, is this were these your peers saying this at
These
the
are my
time, who
peers,
also
yeah.
had not traveled and gotten the perspectives of the rest of the world, realizing that everyone's different but everyone's the same, kind of thing?
No, I think they were quite well traveled, but they hadn't been to Toronto before.
Get out. So it's genuinely different. That's what you're saying.
It's just I think it's uncanny because it is so similar, but there are like slight tweaks. You go to Italy, you go to France, you go to Spain, you go wherever.
Mm-hmm.
It is a stark contrast from where we are.
The cultural differences are obvious.
Right.
Whereas Toronto.
Immediately
Yeah.
obvious. Whereas Toronto, it's not that way. You kind of are lulled into thinking you're just in America until there's like a few things
I
that are
see your
slightly.
point.
It feels like the Twilight Zone a little bit.
I see your
Yeah.
point. It's not so much that it's different; it's that it's not different enough.
Exactly. And that makes it weird,
Interesting.
right?
Yes, of course.
Because
You're in
things
this
that are
bizarro
diametrically
world.
opposed, you get that.
Yes, of course. This
But
is a very
nuance is
interesting
hard
point.
to, hard to like parse out, at least initially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's there's places in, I think it's China, where they basically replicated Paris and
Right.
replicated other famous cities around the. I'm not kidding, like full scale. Like there's an Eiffel Tower, there's an Arc de Triomphe, full scale. I think they're evacuated or whatever. They're abandoned because I don't think anybody lives in them or whatever
Right.
anymore. But they built these places. It kind of sounds like the same thing. It's like, oh, we want that and we'll just do it. But it's like a copy of a copy.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite as
Yeah, that doesn't
transparent and
work.
clear as
Yeah.
the actual.
Yeah.
Well, all right. You're just dashing my hopes and dreams of moving to Toronto one day. Sounds
Well,
weird.
I mean, it's weird.
They have the CNT, right? The Canadian National Tower. Is that in Toronto?
The CN Tower, yes, exactly.
Oh, CN Tower.
CN Tower, yeah. CNT, I guess.
Okay,
is, but
I doubled it up.
They
Right?
say
CNT
tower.
Yeah.
Have you ever been up in that?
Yes,
I've always wanted to do that.
I haven't done
honestly.
Maybe you would love. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
It
I'm
seems
kind
like
of
a tower.
but you
at
know what
this
I mean, like
point.
the
I think
mid-century.
it probably was. Yes, totally.
Because of the encounter at the airport, which has
Yeah.
probably been closed since you've been here, but
Okay.
that weird
The
alien-looking thing
Yeah.
at the
Restaurant.
airport, yeah, used to have a restaurant
There's a
up
lot
there.
of that going on.
fun,
in Toronto.
yeah.
Have you ever seen the Sky Dome? I guess it's not the Sky Dome anymore. It's like the Rogers Center where they play baseball.
Oh no, I wouldn't know anything about that.
It is an insane.
What is
like-
it? The Blue Jays? I got
Yeah,
that
the
though,
Blue
right?
Jays.
'Cause-
Yeah, exactly.
No, I know
No.
nothing about sports at all. Every once in a while, I'll come up with some bizarre rule or something that I know, and it's just like, how do you even know that when you don't know who Michael Jordan is? That's weird.
Anyway,
So Rogers Dome is
just-
like
I
the
mean,
Space Needle?
No, it's not at all. But it looks like a spaceship. It's one of the ugliest buildings I've ever seen in my life.
Wow,
It's
you are
insane.
a walking advertisement for the city of Toronto.
No, Toronto is fantastic. It's great.
Except for all the weirdities.
I think to Americans coming there, it might look like America, but just slightly off. You might just feel like a weird sensation for a
Wow,
moment. I
just a
don't
weird
know.
tingling.
The tingling, yes, that's what it
It's
feels.
the invisible line. I knew it was really there. I knew it. Oh, that's funny. That's funny, man. All right, so how old were you when you said you went to college,
I went
so
to
I'm assuming
college in
like
Chicago.
17, 18, something like that?
Yeah, I was, I guess, 18. Yeah.
And you went to school for what?
I went to school. It was a liberal arts school.
Okay.
So I ended up majoring in fine art, studio art,
Wow.
and sort of did a minor in film studies.
No shit. So you're actually into some of this stuff, like all this stuff.
Oh,
You weren't
totally.
just being polite when you came in here. You were looking at all the
no,
nuts
no,
and
no,
bolts.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh shit,
Yeah,
man,
of
that's so
course.
cool.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
Your compliment means more. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, that was great. And they have my roommate, who I was randomly paired with first year in Chicago,
Oh, that's an interesting
ended
way to open up.
ended up being a great one of my best friends,
Oh, okay.
and we ended up living together for the next 3 years. So we lived together for 4 years, and he was a film major. And then, our other roommate was sort of the like programmer for the film society, like doc films on campus. And so I also was, very, very kind of into that.
I think it's funny how it's the one roommate, he's my best friend to this day, and then there was this other guy.
It's how college
He was there
works.
too.
It's how college works.
How did what did you think you were going to do? What did you want to do at that point? So how did you think you were going to use that?
That's a great question.
Because your
It's
dad is not,
really
I know
broad.
your dad now,
Yeah.
and I know what he's accomplished. He's
Yeah.
not going to let you just, you know what I mean? Like there has to be some
No.
sort of plan, even if you don't follow through with it. There's got to be something on paper.
Well, I think that's always an interesting. I think that if I had decided to go more towards a direct trade,
Mhm.
he would have kind of been into that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think also
So it's quantifiable.
yes,
Selling
exactly.
food is a fucking risky business.
Yeah, totally. And I think my mom pushed more for a liberal arts education.
Wow.
I think he understood the value in that as well, but he was probably a little bit more. He would have been sort of okay either way, and I don't
Sure.
think my mom would have been.
Well, he's awfully proud of you today. So, I mean, it certainly worked
Right.
out. I'm not,
Yeah.
there's no, I'm not trying to uncover anything here.
No, not at all.
Remember that time you really disappointed your dad?
There's a
Changing your
difference
major?
of having a trade versus a broader
Yeah,
education, and I totally see that.
totally. I mean, I think I went into school thinking that it wasn't necessarily going to be useful in terms of a career right away, but it was just it was a really solid foundation for, hopefully
Understanding.
a life of learning.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it. I understand. You weren't like, it wasn't a vocational training. You weren't
No.
you weren't learning to be a plumber. You were just
Yeah.
trying to learn as much about it. Yeah, general. That's again the theory learning. You seem to learn very similar to I do. How were you as a student? Are you a good student, or are you a better taker-inner of knowledge on your own?
I think I was I was a pretty good student.
Okay. Like good grades and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That was never really like a no.
I was much better through osmosis of like,
Yeah.
just give me an internship,
Right.
and I will run the show. But like, teaching
Yeah.
a class, and
Regurgitating what
everything.
you
Oh
tell me
my
to learn?
God,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
there's no actual content here. I'm already
Right.
I'm building other things in my brain. Okay, so you were a good student. How on earth did a good student in a liberal arts education lead you to Los Angeles? And because there's not a lot of time here. It's not like, oh, he found himself for 15 years and whatever. Like, I'm assuming 4 years in school. We're at 22. You're
Still
26
in your
now.
mid-20s.
Totally. Yeah.
So how did all that, how did we get to, what happened after college? How's that? Did you graduate?
I graduated.
Okay.
I guess I would say, like, so as I'm studying film and art, I would say mainly art, actually, at that point.
That's where your interest lies, art?
Well, that's what I primarily did in school. I was in studio arts, like actual making.
Right.
Started out sort of painting and then moved into more like sculpture and photography
Beautiful.
work.
That's interesting. So you have a good understanding of space and physical form.
I hope so.
No, I'm saying you
but
probably
that
do
is-
more than the average person, someone who can't find a map. Like, you're geographically challenged. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, it's true. You
No.
say it all the time. Why?
No, I know. You're just pointing at me. It's hilarious.
Well, I've got another
Like
thing.
a
You're
regular
someone who
person.
understands space. Well, no, I'm not trying to.
Not
I didn't
you.
mean to do that. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to do that. But you know what I'm saying. So I feel like you have more than the people I'm used to dealing with. A better understanding of space. So okay, I'm trying to understand your brain, and that's sort of how I associate with people, and
Well, I think I came to art through that, but also just through a love of design.
Oh man.
And sort of aesthetics in that
Yes.
way. And I was sort of like simultaneously I was doing the art thing. I was also like very into fashion and fashion design, and like summers were spent doing like fashion internships, so like
Wow.
menswear design and whatnot.
Where were your internships? Did you go back up?
I went back up the first year. The second year I went to London, and then the third year I was in New York. And in New York I was doing both. I had sort of like I had two, like, 1 3-day a week and one like 2 or 3 day a week.
Couple internships. Were they all
Exactly.
fashion?
One was at an art gallery.
Okay.
And the other was at a clothing label
Oh.
that I loved, who unfortunately no longer
No
exists.
longer exists. Can we
Well-
say their name then?
Yeah, it's called Band of Outsiders. It was started by Scott Sternberg, who now has Entire World. He's actually an LA guy. I think he's a Silver Lake guy.
Okay. We should get him over to your restaurant.
He's super cool. Yeah, he's a really smart dude. I think he was like an agent in Hollywood, and then decided that he wanted to make clothes, and ended up
What's
doing it
his name?
very, very well. Scott Sternberg.
Scott Sternberg.
Sternberg. Oh, you know him.
I know
Or you know
of
the
him.
name.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so I guess I came to, my story is more like this, an obsession with design and aesthetics, and
Yeah.
and the way things look and feel, and kind
Well, no, go ahead. Sorry.
of a like what happens when an experience feels like aesthetically cohesive, and so
You're talking about full immersion, right?
yes.
You're speaking to my brain for sure.
So then I go to Chicago, and I'm sort of studying all this, but then Chicago has, I think, maybe, I thought at the time, I haven't been back in a while, so I don't know, but I thought it was the best food scene in America at that time.
Wow.
What years was that? Like
2011,
yeah.
which maybe was like I was slightly late. Like, I guessed the Alinea. Like, Alinea was probably, its heyday was maybe like right then or a little bit earlier than that.
Is that a restaurant there?
Alinea is it's a Grant Van Asher's restaurant.
I was gonna say,
Or Grant
foodies would
Asher's
know it, right?
restaurant. Yeah, totally they would. And it was largely considered like the best restaurant in America, and I think, top 10 in the world at one
Wow.
point. But a lot of things were kind of centering on Chicago and Chicago food at that point. And I just started eating out everywhere. And I think I was sort of a picky eater in high school. And
In high school, meaning you developed picky eating, or you just noticed it about yourself?
No,
in
I
high
just
school?
noticed it about myself.
Okay.
I don't think I was a particularly adventurous eater up until like my first or second year of university, and in like a very weird sort of it felt like a really college moment to me where I publicly announced like I'm going to eat everything and anything. And that's like
I will do the opposite.
Yeah, and it was such a conscious decision of like there's literally nothing I won't.
Whoa! So you have no allergies. You don't combat. You don't have to deal with that.
No.
That's a shift.
Nice. That's nice.
Yeah, it was a massive shift that way.
So you were expanding your consciousness. Like I'm just going to make this decision and whatever, like it or hate it. I don't have to eat it again, right?
Totally. It was just I think I just sort of rationally thought about it and was like, this is so stupid.
What am I doing?
Like, why would I just say no to this thing?
What was your
based on-
reasoning? You didn't have one, right?
Yeah,
You just realized you didn't have one.
Exactly.
I didn't like how it looked or
Yeah.
smelled. Or
Yeah.
Kid stuff.
Kid stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
so I
you were
thought
growing
that-
up.
Yeah, I thought that was so silly, and so I had to do the exact opposite. And then
Now,
I just
did you
started
go
eating everywhere.
extreme to like maybe faraway delicacies, or did you
Not-
just all of a sudden I'm going to start eating mushrooms again? You know what I mean? That kind of.
No, yeah, it wasn't crazy. I mean,
But I mean, were you like I'm going to go to tripe and stuff like that?
totally, yeah, I
Okay.
was totally
Other
down with that.
very customary
Absolutely,
foods.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you sought out weird stuff.
Yeah, I remember that, like one restaurant I was at, there was raw deer heart, and I was like, yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Just stuff like that. Like,
Why does it have to be all those things? Raw
don't know.
deer and a heart.
I don't know.
I mean, all,
I don't.
I feel like 2 out of 3.
Yeah, right.
I could tolerate it. You want some deer heart?
Deer heart?
I mean, I don't. Is it good? I don't know. Like raw deer
it's
heart?
raw.
No, I don't fucking want any raw deer heart.
You know what? It was.
You want some raw deer? Is it? I don't know. Is it tenderized? I don't... Sorry, buddy.
No, it was fine. I would jump on that again?
Yeah, right. No.
Yeah. No, it was. Cut with
I
a
attribute
lot
it to
of-
like going to a faraway place. Like I eat the
Totally.
shit that
Yeah.
I don't eat alligator every day. But when we're
Right.
in New Orleans, I fucking
Yeah,
ate
yeah,
alligator because
yeah,
that's what you
absolutely.
do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally. So that's
Do you
where
serve
I was.
alligator at your restaurant?
We don't serve it. No, there's no
Raw deer
Freedman's
heart.
alligator.
It's probably not kosher
Yeah.
either. I would imagine. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Is
I
your
don't know if-
restaurant
I don't
kosher?
know
I
if
should ask that.
Jews- It's not.
Oh,
kosher
okay.
at all.
Well, then
Yeah.
you can have the alligator.
Yeah,
Let's
we
get
can
it
have
back
the
on the
alligator.
menu. Come on.
That is so cool.
I feel like when Jews were writing their dietary restrictions, though, they didn't even know about alligators. So
No, I think you're right.
yeah, it's like
Like we don't. It's not really classified.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very funny. All right. Well, then all of this stuff, and at some point you take an interest in food
Yes. Well, so
while
I'm-
you're
I'm
out about trying all these
out
things.
and about trying all these things, and then I realized that I love restaurants. I love
You
everything
started getting the
about
experiences.
restaurants. Yes. It was about the holistic experience. It was about, food and culture and design, and it was about coming together with people that I loved and having a conversation.
Communing.
Community. And it was everything that I wanted in fashion and that I wanted in art, and that I wanted in design, all wrapped up into this one beautiful, almost like installation.
Yeah.
And that's how I started.
Plus, you get fed. You know what I mean? Like you
Plus
warm
you get
people
fed.
hearts. You know what I
Plus
mean? Like
you're,
it's
exactly.
it's a
You are-
service
you're
type
nourished,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
And it
So
also
fulfills you is what I'm trying to say.
totally.
Yeah.
It also feels I think because of that, it feels more essential almost than like my art practice where
Wow.
it's like this is great and I get to sort of think about what I want to think about and make what I want to make, but I'm not really sure how that serves a kind of community at large. And I don't feel that about all artists. I think a lot of them do engage with the community at
But
large.
food's a
and that's
way
what-
to give to the community
yeah,
and
totally.
nourish and
it was a
provide.
very
And
like one-to-one way to give to the community, right?
Yeah.
Like there was clear like A to B. Like I'm going to make food and people are going to eat the food. And,
Right.
Yeah.
Direct.
Yeah. It was. Anyway, so that's how I started thinking about restaurants, and then in my last year of school, I was eating at this restaurant that had just opened right near school. School was on the south side, and so it was a little bit removed from kind of the
Restaurant
like,
row,
more
so to
like,
speak.
Yeah, let's say that exactly.
For whatever their district is.
Right. And But it was a chef who had a Michelin star in northern Chicago, or like north of where I was, and came down and opened a restaurant right near the school.
Okay.
So I was there. So it was a little, what I mean by that was like a little more chefy for the neighborhood.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well put for us lay people.
But
A little chefy for my taste.
Chefy, yeah.
Did you try that new place? Yeah, it was good. Bread was delicious. Food was a little chefy for my flavor. That's very funny. Do you realize how funny you are? We haven't laughed this hard in a long time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Here we go.
Yeah, it's good.
Canadians.
Very natural.
Love Canadians.
So, okay, so I'm there. I'm at dinner one night and kind of talking to one of the chefs who's there. I think I'm at a chef's counter.
Okay.
I would also go to dinner like. It's funny. I talk about community and I talk about a great conversation. I feel like 60% of the time I'm eating by myself just so I can try these places.
Yeah, but you're taking it in. For you, it's research.
right.
You're seeing what is their experience, what is their experience, looking at the other plates, at the other families. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
The same way when you walked in here, you started looking at all the nuts and bolts. I totally get it. You want to know how it works.
Right.
That's why I'm pretty fascinated with you already.
Amazing.
Well, I can't wait to see what you do in life. You're not just going to be this guy who opened this restaurant and works there till he's 85.
This is just one thing.
That's what I mean.
Right.
That's what I can
Yeah.
tell about you.
Yeah. No, I hope that's not the. Yeah.
You signed a 50-year lease, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I believe you're slated to bring hot dogs forever. They're
Yeah.
on my counter.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Show up
fine.
to an interview with hot dogs. Yeah.
It's
that'll
the
be
day
my
of
thing.
sidebars. He brought a box of hot dogs here today.
Oh.
He said, can I had to pick these up on the way, and do you mind if I put them? It was like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode.
Okay, so I'm eating. So anyway,
Last year, falling in love with this place.
falling in love with this place.
Taking it all in.
Starting to talk to a chef. He says, have you ever cooked? No, absolutely not. Well,
But
you
I'm an
should-
artist.
You should come here and do a stage. So like a stage, like a quick internship.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
Essentially, you show up for the day. Typically, it's free labor, and they
You
just
shadow them, basically,
they see
right?
how you cook.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. I did that for a little bit, and I think I had absolutely, I don't think I was particularly good, but I think I was passionate, and I think the sort of the chef de cuisine saw that I was passionate and saw that I, would just sort of like hunker down and do a task, and I think he liked that, and
Wow.
he sort of took me under his wing a little bit in that sort of last year. I didn't work.
Well,
there
that's
for-
great. I mean, it was going to be one day, and now you.
Exactly, and then I just started working there, and it was probably, I guess it was more like half a year, because at that point I had my final show, and I had done all my credits, and I was just taking like nonsense classes just to hang
Just
out,
passing the time.
Yeah,
Good for you, by the way.
and so
You were a good student.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Gee
Yeah.
whiz.
It was.
I'm just taking these classes
No.
to pass the time.
I mean, I also went.
I mean,
into,
what's a guy to do?
I think I also I figured out how to work a system a little bit. Like, the school I went to was very big on like economics and biology, and I was, I sort of said, oh no, I'm going to take art classes. So I definitely had a little bit of an easier time than my peers.
Yeah, I understand, but still.
Yeah.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah. It's fine.
No, I mean,
But-
yeah, whatever.
So I started cooking there, and I really loved it. And then
Now, are you cooking his way, or is he just teaching you, again, the fundamentals, and then you are then using your own art in you to, or
No,
are you sort of
totally.
just
It's
mimicking
just-
him,
it's just
suing him,
Yeah,
sous chefing him, you know what I mean,
Right.
whatever, following?
right. I go in, I'm just like a prep person during the day.
Okay.
So, I'll be taking the meat out of lobster claws for 4 hours.
All the
straight.
labor stuff, yeah. Peeling potatoes.
Yeah. And then kind of sort of like slowly migrated from there to the fry station, which was like a little bit more complicated because there was a hotline on the other side. So like where all the food was.
I thought for sure you were going to say splatter. It's a little more difficult because, of course, splatter.
No, but so all the dishes that had any like little fried component, like even sort of like an enoki mushroom on a dish that was just like a little side thing, that all had to come from my station. So I was in the back, relatively like alone, just like firing all these like tiny little sides for dishes that were then finished up in the restaurant.
Yeah, almost you're making garnishes and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I peaked, was my fry station. But I loved it. It was great.
I
had
love a
fun
guy
time.
who skips steps. He went from fry station to restaurateur. All right.
I do what I like.
Yeah, it was really fun. And then I moved to London when I graduated.
22, 23, something like that.
Yeah, 22. Yeah.
And feeling pretty good about yourself.
I was
That last 6 months, those were just fluff classes.
Those were fun.
You know
yeah,
what I
it
mean?
was just I was having fun. I at that point had met a girl kind of like in early spring, and she was actually she was still in school, moving to London to start. She was also in art, and she was.
But a
going
hell
to
of a
school there.
coincidence.
Yeah.
That's sort of a made-to-be thing.
Well, no, we kind of decided together. Like I had.
Oh, I see. Oh, gosh.
That's sort
Wow.
of a little bit how I ended up in London. Like partly it was
Young
I'm
love.
graduating. Yeah.
Right?
Like yeah.
Yeah.
I was graduating.
What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I'm going to do it too.
Well, no, I definitely was the sheep in this. She was going to London regardless. Yeah,
No, I know.
I got into the school.
At that
I was
age,
like,
we
yeah.
are the sheep. Yeah, for sure. I'll go wherever you go.
So I ended up in London.
Wow.
It was
Had
also
you
like-
traveled? Had you been places before? Or was that your first time out of the?
Absolutely. No, that was really big with my parents as well.
Travel.
Just like exposure to. So I think part of the foodie thing that I missed is my mom is an excellent cook, and going to restaurants and traveling and sort of consuming a culture through like their food was
Yes.
always important, even though I
Yes.
was picky.
Yes.
So
If it's good enough for them.
Yeah.
Right. I'm with you.
Yeah. And so, yeah, from the age of like 5 or 6, we were
That's
traveling
awesome.
a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so you're very comfortable at 22 years old going over to London,
Oh,
especially
totally.
with a girl or whatever. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what happens in London?
So in London, I thought I was maybe going to get an advertising job, actually.
Because of your art background, this makes sense.
Yes. Well, I met these really lovely people at a bar in Tokyo. Who I was at this bar. After school. I was traveling with my roommate, and we were in Thailand, and then we went to Tokyo.
Okay.
And then he left for a period of time, and I was by myself in Tokyo, and then my sister met me after.
Okay.
But during that period where I was
Check this math later, but all right, I'm following you.
During that period where I was by myself, I was at this bar by myself in Tokyo, and I met these 2 English dudes who were great, and they worked at this very, very big ad firm. Anyway, we really hit it off, and they sort of said, where are you going next year? Oh, I'm actually going to be in London. What do you do? Et cetera, et cetera. So I sort of had a nice little in by the time I got to London. So I started kind of the initial proceedings of what it would take to work at a place like that.
Okay.
And just quickly realized it wasn't for me.
Okay.
And it wasn't something that I was.
Was it the work you weren't going to like, or was it just that environment being...
It was the type of work.
Yeah, okay.
It was...
You knew you weren't going to be fulfilled.
Yeah, it was the, I guess, I don't know. It was creativity with a very, very specific agenda.
Yes, me too.
And
I don't know if you know this. I did advertising work for a
Right.
while too, and
You couldn't...
I don't care for that time in my life.
Yeah.
It looks pretty, but it's
Yeah.
not actual art.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
disconnect.
Yeah, I love Mad Men, and it made it like a very fancy, sexy place to be and to say that you worked and stuff. But it is.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's an agenda, and if
Yeah.
you're part of that, great.
Yeah.
If that in any way irks you,
Yeah.
not a good place.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
No. It's weird to
That
take...
to me says more about your character than anything else, because you could have probably made a shit ton of money there. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I don't know. If I was any good, I also didn't know I would be any good at it.
Yeah,
But
it's totally fair.
But yeah, it was.
So this is going to be another. We're going to dogleg again.
We're doglegging into advertising for a moment. I think,
Oh,
right?
oh.
Or no?
Oh, I
Are we
thought.
not?
Wow, I thought. Well,
we're
you
done.
didn't stay
Are we
there
done
long.
with advertising?
You tell me.
No. We're done. We're done. Let's move on.
You didn't like it.
I didn't
So I
like
said
it.
you're going to change, and you
Totally.
said.
Yeah.
And then where do we go?
Then I was living in East London at the time, and there was
Still with the girl. The girl's
yes,
out. Okay.
Yes. No. She was kind of opposite in Camden.
Okay. But you guys are still there.
Yeah.
Only
Totally.
the job is the only thing that hasn't worked out now is the advertising thing.
Totally.
Okay.
And I wasn't like that concerned about it yet. But I saw there was a restaurant that was closed for a remodel. And I had obviously I had read a little bit about the sort of London food scene, and especially like the food scene around where I was in East London. And this place had popped up, and I started reading about who the owners were and what kind of food they were and what kind of style the restaurant was and how it sort of felt.
Sure.
And I thought, oh, this sounds cool. This sounds fantastic. And they had weirdly been closed for a remodel. So I thought,
But it's checking all the boxes for you, so
Well,
you're like, I gotta.
I thought it was perfect because when restaurants close for a remodel, everyone who's an hourly employee has to go get another job. So I thought, oh, this is my in. This is how I start working at a restaurant. So I did that.
So it worked.
It
You were
worked.
able to get a
It
spot
worked,
because
yeah.
not everybody came back.
Exactly. It worked. I went in. I really hit it off, I think, with the owners. The first sort of meeting, they were fantastic and are fantastic, and they're super cool, and we're still in touch.
Wow.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's
So-
London.
That's London. So, and that was an incredibly, I think part of that is it was an incredibly small restaurant. It was like 35 seats. I would sometimes start in the morning doing like a little bit of prep. But then I moved more into just like only front of house. So serving.
So managing a little bit too, a little bit if you're front of house, right?
Well, initially it was just serving. And then because it was so small and so many positions kind of shuffled, I feel like I got a really good kind of oversight of the entire operation of the restaurant very, very quickly.
That's your personality as well. I mentioned before. You just kind of take
Yeah,
in all the nuts
right,
and bolts.
Right. But that was also that was something that was really that was part of why I chose that restaurant, because it was so small and because I would be able to get an experience like
Yes.
that.
It's a fishbowl to grow your skills. It's
Yeah.
not dissimilar to what we're doing right here.
Totally. Because you go into a restaurant that's 200 people a night, and you're
Got to be ready.
But
You
you're
gotta-
also so narrow, right? Like it's very hard to see all facets of that operation that quickly. It would take years and years and years.
Right, because everybody's too on their task.
Right. Everybody has to be on their task, and it's it's no like sort of detriment, or it's nothing against the people who own and operate those businesses. It's literally just everything needs
Sure.
to be sort of
Yeah.
specified.
It's
in a
everything
different
scaled,
way.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so that worked out well. This
Yeah.
is a good restaurant experience that you're
Yeah.
enjoying.
Fantastic restaurant experience. I'm enjoying.
And you left that to...
And my sister was in LA,
Older or younger?
older,
Okay.
and I think it was like, I was closing down the restaurant at like, 1 or 2 a.m. and I knew I had to be back there in 6 hours or
Sure.
something for brunch.
Yep. Brunch prep.
And I was like, this is awful, but I love this. Like, I'm totally cool with that.
So you're digging the grind.
I'm digging the grind.
Yep.
Yeah. It was one of those, and then in the digging the grind, I was like, I could do this.
You found your...
Yeah.
I totally know what you mean.
This is also the scale and size that like I could feasibly like manage for someone, my age with such limited skill set.
Zuckerman on the, Spike's Car Radio and Zuckerman, Paul Zuckerman.
Yeah.
His whole thing is about it's very important to be right-sized.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
like, it's one of those things that's fundamentally make perfect sense,
Yeah.
but hearing him say it so simply in that chair was like, duh. And it's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean,
you were
otherwise it's like
scaled
you-
out right. You were getting all the pieces that you needed to do what you've eventually done. How did you get from there to where you are today?
Well, so
Or at least to LA, where
I
your sister
started
is.
looking at real estate and sort of putting a business plan together
So you were already thinking
and a
about
pitch deck together while I was in London.
Wow. Because your sister was here, you thought, oh, that'll
I
be
started
easier?
It started because she sent me this like beautiful sort of historic building that was for lease. And I was like, oh, we should put a bar there. And then I quickly realized that's impossible in LA and it would never get permitted and
Through the
everything like
ABC
that.
and everything, yeah.
And acquiring a just a bar license is nearly impossible
Yeah,
at this point.
that's right.
Anyway.
That you have to be grandfathered in, I think, at this point. Otherwise, you got to have food.
Oh, yeah.
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 I don't know if you know about it. There's all these different. It's not just a
Different
straight
rules.
liquor license. There's like all these different codes.
The 41,
and
the 47, the 48. Exactly.
Yeah.
But so that sparked everything. She just sent me this link. And
that
was
was
like,
enough.
This
Oh
building
man,
is-
we should put a bar there. You were like, well, my goodness, think of the possibilities.
Right.
Wheels are turning.
Wheels are turning.
Well, we can't open just a bar. We need a restaurant. Hey, I know how to do that. You know, like sure, yeah.
So we started looking. I would look at real estate and just send her things and say like, go look at this place.
Take some
and
pictures.
she would take videos and
Yeah.
then send them to me. And then we started putting a budget together, and that's how it started. And then
Wow.
I left London.
But did you? I mean, I don't want to get too personal here, but did you like take on investors to then buy?
Yeah,
I mean, you leased a place. You didn't buy a
Exactly.
building, right?
Leased a place, didn't
Okay.
buy a building.
Yeah.
Initially, sort of like the sort of initial investment, and then you can go and you can lend, borrow, and
Yeah, of course.
was from my grandparents.
Beautiful.
And it's
I love the family stories like that.
especially because in a lot of ways the kind of restaurant that I've opened is
It's a family
for
joint.
them.
Yep.
Yeah, and being, Jewish American in that way, it's a lot of the foods that I think I grew up eating, and I grew up eating with them. And the foods that they kind of really loved as well.
I love it. All right, so tell us about the restaurant now that it's there
Yeah.
in Silver Lake. Whatever, this whole plan
Right.
worked out.
Whole
You
plan
got
worked
it
out.
going.
Restaurant exists.
Tell us where it is.
Yeah.
What's the food like? Tell us, like, you know what I mean. We now know all the pieces that were important to you.
Yeah.
How did you put them all together?
Well, it's a.
You know what I mean? Like, what's the picture look like now?
It's a Jewish American restaurant and bar.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean, though?
Jewish American is like Ashkenazi Jewish food. So you have this trend of a lot of Sephardic Jewish restaurants opening, meaning like more Middle Eastern inspired.
Okay.
And Ashkenazi is more the Eastern European kind of tradition of Jewish cooking. So essentially everything from like Poland to a little bit of, Russia, Czech Republic.
Sure.
Even to
Eastern European.
exactly.
Okay.
But even to like Alsatian Jews and
Okay.
Yeah.
But so what would the cuisine be? What would that encompass? What's on your menu?
Well, the
people
American-
I hear
would know?
Jewish food and I think deli.
Right.
And I know
right.
I
I love
do-
that.
I think also
That's
New York
That's a
deli,
great
too.
transition because I'm on this kick that we're not a deli because we sort of branded ourselves.
Your physical space does not look like a
doesn't
deli.
look
It
like a
looks
deli
like your
at all.
grandparents' place. Like
Yeah.
you would go to. It looks honestly. It looks, and this is probably why I love it. I think I said this to you. It looks like a New York, like a wise guy's place, like a
Right.
good,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
this is
yeah.
where you go.
Yeah.
This is where Tony Soprano would have the meetings with the guys.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that in a good way.
That's exactly what I'm going for.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we set out to build a place that felt like an immediate establishment, and that's sort of the.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a new place.
We're not
No.
learning.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
there. It's awesome.
And that was part of the task was like, okay, how do we take this like pretty crappy 1980s strip mall, and build a brand new restaurant that feels like it's been there for 50 years.
Yeah. Yet also inside not feel like it's in that strip mall that you
Exactly.
saw that you
Yeah.
walked into.
Right. How do you also transport a guest?
What's the answer? Because I've seen pictures and I've seen the place and I didn't know it was in a strip mall till you just told me.
Right.
I didn't either.
That's it. It's just you. It's sort of a care and an attention.
But what does that mean to you? Is it set dressing? Is it the textures and the walls? It's not just the food because they haven't even seen the food
Right.
at this point.
It's everything from music to lighting to setting the scene.
Full sensory experience.
Absolutely. touch points become massively important. You know, everything that the guests can feel should feel like quality.
So you're talking about textures, tables, tablecloths,
Yeah.
furniture, all that stuff.
And you know, sort of materials and materiality in that way, like something that feels like it has permanence versus, you know, a lot of restaurants today are it works for their concept, but they are built with materials that are a little cheaper, and a lot of the
They're
like
disposable by design,
Right.
Yeah.
So that
Right.
when that gets damaged, we don't fix it, call in a guy, we throw it out and buy 10
Replace
more.
it.
Yep.
Right. Which is, you know, another concept. Totally, I would do that in a heartbeat. And I think there's ways
It's just different. It's just different.
That's
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
But I agree. Right now, that seems to be the trend. You're bucking that, and I feel that
Right.
is probably why you are and going to be successful.
I hope so.
How's it going so
that's-
far? How long have you been open? That's important. I've
We've
been
been
wanting to ask that for the
open-
hour. I keep forgetting.
We opened November of 2017.
Okay, so it is 2 years now.
Almost.
Almost, okay.
Yeah. Where are we in? We're in August almost.
Oh, yeah, a year and a
Yeah.
half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
How has
exciting.
it been? How did
been
it
good.
start? You know what I mean? Like
So it started.
if you tell me there was a line out the door and it's been that way ever since, I'm not going to believe you because no story has ever gone that way.
Absolutely not, and
Right.
it's still not. It started. We almost did no press. We kind of saw a little bit of like the hype machine that happens when new restaurants open, and we were just
LA
a little.
especially.
Yeah,
It's a machine.
yeah, and honestly, that's awesome when you are an established restaurant, but you also have established systems for your restaurant. But as people coming into a new market and as people opening a restaurant for the first time, we were worried about overwhelming everyone. The kitchen, our staff, etc. So we wanted to kind of take it slow and build build regulars and like really ingratiate ourselves into the neighborhood.
Yes. You are saying,
Rather than just like popping up and being like, here we are, we exist.
boom, cash grab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying exactly what our intentions were here.
Yeah.
We didn't do this previous. We didn't
Right.
show up to this job really good at it.
Right.
Hey, we are going to demand you pay us this, and we should do this and sponsor this. And it was like, we need to figure out if we can even do this. Let's see it. Like, we've got a great idea here,
Yeah.
and then it's like you got to put it into actual action.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like people are worried about clicks, and it's the same as, customers for you or whatever. And I was never looking at that because it's a long game. I'm in this for,
right.
call it a 10-year haul at least, to do this little job here.
Yeah.
And I think that machine you talked about, there's one for our business too.
Yeah.
It works. It fucking
Yeah.
works really well. But it works better for the model with those other chairs and those other materials and everything that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Because it's put it up, get as much as you can. It's not going to last long. You know what I mean? You're in it for, well, we're going to be the new neighborhood spot that's
Right.
here for 20 years
Right.
or more, hopefully.
Right.
And we're going to be an anchor spot of this fucking strip mall over
Right.
here. And then people are now going to say, like, oh, yeah, the fish store is the one that's next to Freeman's, of course.
Right.
So I feel like you're on the right track, but it goes back to almost simply back in your days of work, grassroots. It's a grassroots
Yeah.
effort instead of just let's PR and marketing and
Right.
get the...
Right.
And I feel like that's what's going to change it over time. And that's why already now people have a different understanding of your restaurant in that little area than just, I don't want to say any names. I'm so difficult to do all this without using a specific example of when blah, blah, blah opened or when blah, blah, blah opened.
Yeah.
Places that you totally heard of and that aren't there anymore.
Yeah. Right. And that's I think both good and bad. I think the bad part is it takes a while. And it's a slow build, and you realize that you're probably a little bit ahead of like your specific area.
Yes. But that's good. Stay
Yeah.
your course.
Yeah.
They will catch up.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
From your
Yeah.
art background?
Yeah.
Okay. You
But
had such
then
a
this-
good head on your shoulders for 26. I wish I had that head on my shoulders at 26.
You have a very clear, direct way of cutting through the bullshit. And I respect that so much because that's a lot of what we run into, certainly with this business, but in general, of like people here I used to do PR, they're like, oh, let me talk to you. I'm like, no. zoom out and slow down first, because it's more of a, like you said, the long game of like, have that stuff established, like what you really want, because you're gonna have to talk about this forever. So that's know what that means first, and then do the little cash. What we all need it. It is what it is.
You're
There's a
establishing
purpose.
yourself right now.
You're doing
you're
such
it
a
the
good
right
job.
way.
I hope
So impressed with you.
I mean, what was then interesting is the kind of slow build that we tried to have. We ended up getting a lot of press.
Yeah, by not asking for it.
So, like, our opening chef ended up being named to the list of Food and Wine's best new chefs. Then we were put on the cover of Bon Appetit magazine and named the 4th best new restaurant in America. And so then there was this weird, like, we didn't do anything in the beginning. We were pretty hush-hush about everything. And then all of a sudden, like, went like national in a weird way.
Yeah, 100%.
It's true love. Good job. It means people found you and love you.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, exactly. And then,
Fantastic.
And then I don't know. And then it's just been. Then we're just
Well, you changed chefs at one point, right?
We did, yeah. So
and then that was almost a sort of a reinvigoration.
Exactly. It's I mean that's
or a
a hard
2.0
thing.
maybe.
It's a little bit of a two. I would say only maybe in the last 4 months with our new chef Ryan Costanza have Costanza.
Is it?
There's a Costanza running a Jewish restaurant.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean any. No, I wanted to make sure that I heard it
Yeah.
right.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's very excited about that.
Yeah, of course. The guy with the speeding ticket before, he's a huge Seinfeld fan.
Yeah. So, I mean, with him and with our new GM, Matt Bone, do you know the restaurant Hatchet Hall? Have you heard of that?
No, but we don't go out much anymore. We like if you asked me what the hip trendy place was 10 years ago, we would both know everything. Right. But in the last 5 years, we've sort of been.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, any cool breakfast joint. We just don't go out anymore.
But anyway, he was the GM. He was the beverage director there, and now is our GM.
Well, that sounds like a good hire.
We have a really, between him and Ryan, I think we have a really, really solid team, and I think that took maybe a year and a half to, and not to slight anyone else, like the restaurant or the people, the personnel who came before it, but it is hard to find that groove, and those people who you really think that you can like grow and build with.
I find that it's very difficult to get a bunch of people pulling in the same direction.
Yeah,
because everyone's got their own agendas and their own Well, I think that you're fucking doing great, man. I love your attitude. What's going on with your car? Anything you're going to change about it? What do you like? Because I mean, there's certain things. I know your dad would prefer to see black wheels on that car.
He would prefer to see black wheels on that car, but I don't know if I have the heart to do it. Honestly.
Well, you could always get another set.
Yeah,
just get an alt set and just throw them on whenever.
It's very expensive, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. I meant you know a lot of people now.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're getting into a clique of people where things are certainly still expensive, but less than they used to be because you've got more eyes looking for you.
Right.
And people, the community wants to help you, so forth.
Right.
Also, Sierra Madre collection has fantastic replicas that if you ever wanted to just see that are very inexpensive and function great.
Cool.
There's all sorts of things out there just for you to see.
But I don't know what else. It's one of those things where I think because when I bought it with the 40,000 original miles, and like I don't know if I want to
change it.
Yeah, I think I think I almost want to save up and get like a beater.
That's the right answer.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
you're not alone. Tommy's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Tommy just got his first one, and he's like, I already want another one because it's either that or I'm going to ruin this one.
Exactly. Yeah.
A lot of you guys at Breakfast Club end up getting to that place of like, at first you want everything and like, I can just get, and then it's like, no, I want to make something.
Yeah, the first one's tough because you do want it so nice, and then you do end up like doing stuff.
But you want to drive it also.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So it's a catch-22.
Like, it's not. Yeah, I mean, especially like it was when I bought it. Not that it was in bad shape. I mean, I had to put a bit into it because it was just sitting in a garage. Really.
Well, let's hear it. What's the story?
Yeah.
We know that your dad was into cars. We
Yeah.
got all that stuff
Yeah,
out
yeah.
of the way.
Yeah.
Why did you decide Porsche, and then how did you get that particular car? And then we're already way over, but I just enjoy
geez.
talking to
All
you.
right.
So, and your story's great, and I want people to go to your restaurant. So,
Cool.
all the stuff.
Amazing. How did I?
Yeah, why that car? Like, why Porsche? Why?
I wanted something, I think, that really felt like a driver's car in a way, like that.
That's the one.
Yeah, and that where I
And
felt
you moved
in-
out here where you can actually drive it.
That's part of it as well, right? Where I can drive it all year round.
Yeah.
And I wanted something where I felt a connection to the car, and the car felt a connection to the road, and it was very everything was very palpable.
Yes.
In that way.
Yes.
And
Everything is quantifiable in that car. You can feel every single thing.
yeah, and.
You know how many people get into a 911 and they're like, the steering is wrong, the thing is, all this stuff is so wrong, and you're like, that's what you're writing the check for, fella. If you don't like it, get something else.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're paying to feel every bubble, every bump, every little pebble.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I really liked the vintage cars. Frankly, they were sort of at a price point that I could.
It was at
afford
the
a little
time,
bit
was
more.
it the
Yeah.
right? Okay. But how'd you find that car?
That car was just months and months of
Just internet
online
searching.
and then I kind of started a conversation with the guy, and it was in Laguna Beach, and I went to see it.
Oh,
a
local,
few times.
great.
Yeah.
Our car came from Laguna Beach.
Yeah. When did you get your car?
15,
4 or 5 years, yeah,
I think.
something like that.
Cool. What did you have before?
It was our fourth car when we got it. I was daily driving an M4, brand new
Okay.
M4 that I didn't.
Yeah.
I went backwards. That was as far forward as I was willing to go, and then I decided to buy a car 10 years older than it was.
Yeah. But yeah, so I started sort of a conversation with the guy, and there was a little bit of a back and forth. I think
Was it priced well? I mean, the car certainly is clean. We know that.
it was. I think it was priced a little bit high, but actually, now that I look at the market and sort of where it's gone, I think I actually got a pretty good deal.
To buy a 911 from Laguna Beach,
Yeah.
not at an insane markup.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
we got a great deal, and we
Yeah.
were right on the market.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
right down the middle. But
Yeah.
the fact that we got a clean car from where we got it.
Totally. And
Was it a dealer or private?
private?
Oh, okay.
And I also then got Coco involved. Shout out to Coco from
Here in Silver Lake.
yeah.
What's the name of the shop?
Sublime.
Okay, I didn't want to say the wrong. I know there used to be a different one. I don't
Used
want
to
to say the wrong one.
be yeah.
The other one,
Yes.
whatever it used to be. Okay,
Mistress.
so
It used to be
Sublime,
Mistress.
Sublime,
Now it's- yeah.
and Coco, who I just met at the Cars and Coffee
He's
the other
amazing.
day in Los Angeles.
Right.
Okay. So
There's
he
one-
you got him involved to look at the car or to
look at the car.
Great.
I had sort of, I think I honestly started looking as well a little bit because of Coco. I
Good for you.
took my cars to high tech, and then I'd go across the street and look at all the cars.
That's all it takes.
And then my dad, I think, was in town one day
Nope.
and was like, "This guy is awesome. He's
Yeah.
the real deal."
Your dad.
And and so I kind of went to him for advice. I said, what should I be looking for? What's the price point? Like, do you have some suggestions? And he would throw me like a couple suggestions every once in a while. And then I found this one and I went to him with it. Anyway, so he did a video conference inspection of the car with a mechanic in Laguna Beach.
Beautiful.
And there was one kind of issue that came up that then sort of got resolved. And anyway, regardless, he sort of said yeah, just go. I would go for it. Why not?
Wow.
And so I eventually, after kind of maybe a month or two of back and forth with the guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was for sale for that long, and you guys were
Yeah.
hammering it out?
Yeah.
Wow.
I went and picked it up.
Yeah, so you went, you got this car.
Yeah.
Had you driven 911s before or no?
No. I mean, I had
Your
gone-
car was the first one you drove? After you bought it? This is the coolest. I don't care. I just think it's great.
I drove it, I went down to Laguna Beach to test drive it.
Okay.
Obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that was your first 911 drive.
That was my first, because my dad had one when I was young, but I wasn't able to drive.
Sure.
Yeah, totally.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
Have you driven any other ones?
No.
So your car is the only 911 you've ever
My
driven?
car is the only 911 I've
God
ever
damn,
driven.
that's great.
Yeah,
Well, you're
it's
putting
crazy.
miles on it.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to change that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Well, honestly, it's great.
amazing.
Get the seat time in yours, and
Yeah,
then you learn
yeah.
your car the
Yeah,
most, and
exactly.
it's back to the fundamentals.
Yeah, I mean,
So there were a couple things, but you figured it out, and it's just
totally,
Yeah.
exactly.
and you're enjoying it now.
I love it. Yeah, it's the best. Yeah, it's so
Is it
fun.
your daily driver, or do you only come up to Breakfast Club?
It is not my daily driver. I
Okay.
probably drive it. Well, I do Breakfast Club, Fridays, and then I'll probably drive it once or twice more. So probably 3 times a week, something like that.
I didn't even get into this other stuff, but we covered most of it. How did you find Breakfast Club? How did that come to be? How
that
did you find us?
was Coco.
Oh, no
Actually,
kidding.
Yeah. Coco said, there's a bunch of guys who do this on Fridays. You should go check it out.
How cool.
And then he said, make sure you say hi to Jay. And he
No
gave me
kidding.
your Instagram. So I just started following.
That's so funny because I didn't meet him until literally a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's so
I'm
wonderful.
sure found out because, it's a small community.
I so appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
And then, and now
And that's it. Well, we met you the first time because your dad introduced you, and then ever since, you're just a regular now. I don't think you've missed one since, have you? Since your first one?
No.
That's amazing.
I actually came to one earlier than that. I think one or 2 times I was there before my dad, but I was like,
Incognito. We didn't meet you.
Totally, no.
Okay.
I think I was terrified to talk to anyone.
Sitting by
so-
yourself in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Fit right in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that was my research trip, just trying to
Yeah.
figure out the lay of the land.
Read the room. Absolutely.
Yeah.
These are the nuances you were
Yeah.
talking about before that people don't pick up on. You're amazing, man. I hope that you enjoyed this experience.
It was
Is
great.
this your first talk show experience?
This is my first, I think it's my first filmed talk show. I was on KCRW with Evan Kleinman,
Okay.
which was great. We were talking about bagels way early on when the restaurant opened.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're on Instagram, right?
Yep.
Or the restaurant is? What's the
The
Instagram?
restaurant, Freedman's _LA.
All right.
2 E's, not an IE.
That's
which
right.
Is very important.
That's right. But
Yeah.
with a
Big
D.
deal.
It's not
With a D.
Freeman's.
Not Freeman's.
Freedman's.
Freedman's.
Love it.
Freedman's
Love it.
_LA. Thank you very much.
That's awesome. So we will post that Instagram story. What is your address? How do people find you? What's the website? Blah, blah, blah.
Our
how do you
address,
promote your restaurant?
2619 Sunset Boulevard. We are at the corner of Sunset and Benton Way, where the Happy Foot Sad Foot Clinic sign is.
The famous
yes.
billboard.
Unfortunately, that is going away. The business is
kidding.
moving, and they're taking the sign with them.
That was like a historic landmark.
Yeah. So now I guess we're just east of Sunset and Silver Lake, which is maybe the larger intersection.
Well, I don't mean to shift your thinking. I certainly don't want to tell you what to do, but I feel like now that's the Freedman's.
I was just
intersection.
gonna say.
Freedman's
Right, I'm
intersection.
saying
yeah,
now, you
right.
know what I mean?
Yeah, Sunset and Benton
That's
Way.
a
It's Freedman's
landmark.
You are now the
intersection.
anchor
Right,
store.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that too.
That is so awesome. And tomorrow,
Actually,
Mrs.
we're
Ryan.
about to put up a sign, so that's perfect because we haven't had a sign. So
What?
it's-
You've got an awning. No,
Yeah.
what do you? Is it an awning?
We haven't an awning, but literally 90% of the people who come into Freedman say it was impossible to find this place.
That's what you want.
What are you guys doing?
That's what you want for your business.
So we're gonna put up a sign.
Do you guys take reservations?
Yeah,
You do.
on Resi. Yeah,
That's great.
Or our website, freedmansla.com.
Love it.
Plug.
Love it. That's fantastic. All right, man. Thank you so much. We're going to
Yeah.
see you tomorrow, though, because Mrs. Ryan, tomorrow we've got Breakfast Club. It's Groundhog Day. Gosh, yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow is Breakfast Club up at Newcomb's Ranch, 9 a.m. The 3 of us will be there. There's usually Porsches till about noon. The weather should be fantastic tomorrow, and that's where we'll be. Saturday, I don't think we're doing anything public. There will the Porsche event. We'll see some of you. We'll see some of you on Saturday. And then Sunday is, I think, another Cars and Coffee
and
Los
the
Angeles
Professor Run.
and the Professor Run.
Yeah, it's like 100 miles, I think, basically, we're saying.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's basically to Newcomb's and back.
Yeah, I guess so.
Do you know anything about that? Of anything that's going on this week?
I don't. I know that the meetup is at Cars and Coffee.
Yeah,
as-
so we
as
all just go
normal.
to Cars and Coffee, right?
Yeah, and then there's lunch. There's a lunch stop in between, and then you come back. And,
Holy smokes.
Yeah. And the
All right.
Professor will be there doing his thing.
So that's this weekend. Next week, we've got Anna Rose Eisenbach.
Yes.
Who's that?
From Nas. She's one of Nas' friends.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
But I mean,
to
why
meet
is she on the show? We don't know what her thing is. She's got something. She's interesting for some reason, and that's why she's here. And
don't
then we've
remember,
got
sorry.
Mark Lano? Mark Lano.
Claudia's dead. Lano.
Claudia Lano.
Yeah, she was going to be. She's a comedian. It's going to be on here.
Oh,
We
no
had to
shit.
reschedule when your tooth thing happened, and that's her dad.
That's a riot. Okay, doke. And then Jennifer Nicole, who's G.I. Jen.
We're
from,
working,
PEC
hopefully
LA.
working that out. Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it. A lot of stuff next week. Thank you very much for watching at home. We very much appreciate that. Mrs. Ryan, I love you so very much. Holy cow. Jonah, we love you very much. Thank you for being here.
you.
We love everybody at home. Please love one another, and we will see you soon.
Great.